So it's Tuesday night, which means I have Wednesday and Thursday left. It's about 8:30 and I'm beat. I uh I don't know that I actually accomplished anything today. I Sorry, I got totally distracted because I just heard somebody pull up next door that I hadn't heard before. And it's been real loud downstairs, so um I don't know that I've even had writer's block because with my computer cord not having one, because why would I have a phone cord and a computer cord when I run away for a week? I love my brain sometimes. I just kind of mentally checked out, so I did some drawing, I did some researching, and I did some, find more excuses, insert them here to not do what I was supposed to do when I came here. But my priority was to heal and to give myself grace. And so today's going to be my grace day. I have a meeting with my counselor tomorrow at 6 p.m., and I look forward to being able to go through that with her. I have accomplished one thing, which feels good. I wasn't sure who I was talking to. I spoke to a good friend of mine tonight, and I told him, when you prepare a speech and when you prepare to write a book or anything and you're talking to someone, you should always know who you're talking to. So even right now, I imagine that I have my best friend sitting in front of me. Hey Mel, hi Melissa, hi Nick, hi Love, I see you guys. Emma, am I doing okay? I imagine who's in front of me, and you guys are the ones I speak to, because if I make it pertinent in that kind of conversation, then I know others will hear. And in writing this book, I don't want to write it to that audience. Not to the people that I just said, but if I write it to the audience of what I'd always saw it, which was I wanted to write the book that I always needed. Self-help books existed. I didn't fucking read them, and I sure as hell didn't listen to them. Okay, noted. And I don't want to write a book to a 16-year-old girl who was raped and her best friend at the time told her that she was a liar and that she was the worst friend in the world. I don't want to write it to a girl who was abused her whole life and was so fucking optimistic that she didn't even know it half the time. I don't want to write to that person because I'm even now so optimistic. I hope she doesn't fucking exist. The shit that is in this book, I hope no other person has been through those things. And not because my trauma is worse than anybody else's. See, that's the thing. There is no trauma measurement. There is no barometer that says yours is worse than mine, mine's worse than yours. I wouldn't wish trauma on my worst enemy. Because all trauma is a massive change in one's life that's unexpected. That's it. So, anyone can experience trauma at any level and have a hard time coping with it and have a hard time coming back from it. So, to say that I have multiple levels of trauma, really all that tells you is that I didn't expect a whole lot of shit to happen in my life. That's all that means. Now, to tell you that I've spent a lot of money on therapy, let me phrase that. I've spent a lot of money on actual therapists, on I don't go to psychologists, I go to, no, psychologists, not psychotherapists. I've also spent a lot of money on tattoo therapy and a few other forms of therapy, if you know what I mean. Not anymore. I've been sober quite a few years, thank you very much. But I've spent a lot of money trying to fix what's going on up here because of all those things that were unexpected, because of all those unbelievable things that happened. Whether it's because I believed I was a victim or not doesn't really matter. The fact that I walked around with a chip on my shoulder like the world owed me for a while, that definitely got me in some shit, that's for sure, and hopefully that will make people laugh. But I don't want to compare if my trauma is worse than yours or yours is worse than mine. Quite frankly, part of the reason I survived life was because I had brothers who had it worse. So my life was easy compared to theirs. Part of the reason that I'm so optimistic, and when you meet me, I'm genuinely a fucking ray of goddamn sunshine, because I got to choose. Because one day I woke up and said no more. But that also meant that I had to give up this idea that it was their fault. I had to give up this idea that they did it to me. Sure, there's a certain point of childhood traumas that other people do things to you, and that there are monsters out there, some of which I'm writing about. But when you turn a certain age, you get to choose whether or not you want to keep that chip on your shoulder or if you want to make the world a better place. At some point, you have to choose, is it about redemption for you or is it about rock bottom? At some point, you have to choose which path you're willing to take, because no one can force you down that path anymore. It's on you. So, who do I want to write to? Well, I want to write to people like me. Like the people that I admire, the people that are in my tribe. Excuse me, not my tribe, I'm trying to work on that. The people that I find are in my inner circle. People that are willing to change their verbiage in mid-conversation because they recognize it's not okay. Change. I want to talk to the people that want to create change within themselves. So, what he gave me was 2 tidbits of advice that I loved. 1, speak to a mood. Speak to a feeling. Speak to an era of a feeling, if you will. So, yeah, I know what it's like to hit rock bottom. Just a couple times, we'll leave it at that. I know what it's like to feel hopeless. I know what it's like to be in trouble for shit you've never done, and to try to get out of trouble for shit that you definitely did. I know what it feels like to celebrate success and not have it feel real. I know what it's like to be 10 years out from my wildest dreams and it's still not enough. But that's what keeps me going. So these are the things I want to write about. How do you go from hopeless to fearless? And I hope in these other videos you'll catch I'm not fearless. I didn't sleep last night because my paranoia is that bad. But I'm still willing to do it even though there is fear. I won't give up this idea that my life is meant to be happy. Whatever tactile things I deserve, whatever, fine. But who gets to dictate who gets to be happy? Why do you get to choose that for somebody else? And why does somebody else get to choose that for me? I don't like that idea. But if I am the only one that gets to choose my happiness, then I'm also the only one that gets to choose whether or not I'm the victim or the victor. Which means that I do maybe know who I want to talk to. So if you want to be the victor to your life, got some things for you. The other thing that he taught me that I really liked about writing was breaking things down, and he got it from a video, so we'll have to steal it from him later. But he got from this video, write out the 6 pieces of content, right? And then pull your chapters from there. And then in each chapter, answer 2 or 3 questions or give 2 or 3 bits. I can't say with certainty that I will have 2 or 3 bits of advice in each chapter, because some of these suck. Last night I wrote about losing a childhood family of friends. Never got to see them again. Ripped out of my life for something that someone said that I had no control over. Made peace with it. It fucking sucks. But it is. And maybe someday, who knows, with YouTube and Facebook and all the other things, maybe they'll see this and maybe they'll reach out. I don't know. But I'm ever hopeful and optimistic. Just who I am. But is that within that chapter? Probably not. So, find your 6 pieces. Pick those 6 pieces of content. Write your chapters from there. And then put in your 2-3 tidbits from each chapter. And the beauty of that is that I went from an entire apartment of Post-its. I mean, I had Post-its on, I had Post-its on everything but the lamps and the TV. I still have one on the fridge. Oh, and not the coffee pot. That's sacred ground. You don't put Post-its on coffee pots. Okay, guys, there's certain places you just don't put things. So, after being able to take that bit of advice, I went one step farther and I took those 6 pieces of content, or categories if you will, and I broke them into 3 acts. So act 1 is getting to meet the person and getting to get a feel for their life. And then act 2 is, when your antagonist and protagonist meet, they come to the middle, and it's when your hero goes through hell and how are they going to figure it out. And then act 3 is when everybody goes home happy. So I was able to take those 6 pieces and build into act 1, 2, and 3 so that I could see what made sense for a flow. So now I'm in the process of creating chapter names and putting the titles and stories together. So it really looks like when I wake up tomorrow, I could just start writing. Sounds like tomorrow's gonna be a sushi day, so I'm not cooking. I wonder how much sushi is acceptable. There's this amazing place down here, Saffron Bistro. They give you sushi and Thai. That's gonna be a lot. I'll order a lot of both, to be real honest. Alright, so quick recap. I didn't accomplish much today, but I feel super successful due to grace and being able to know my audience. Just based on feelings and based on, where I've been. I took my timeline of 35 years and was able to condense it into 6 categories, put those 6 categories to each into 3 acts, and then now make chapters out of each of those categories. And that actually sounds like I've accomplished quite a bit. Maybe there is something to this whole video journaling things. So, now for the real debate. Do I put my happy ass to bed, because it's my bedtime typically? Do I stay up and write? That is the question. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. What would you do?